Facebook is really important.
Live before you burn.
Everybody's on Facebook these days. What's up, dudes? This is Johnny Beane, exclusively Van Halen. It's August 15. It's 8:07 p.m. Eastern, 5:07 Pacific, I think. We're live on YouTube. That's right. We're talking Van Halen. So smash that subscribe, smash that thumbs up. Help us get to 10,400 YouTube subscribers this month. I think we can do it. We're literally like 60 away. So if you have 60 friends, tell them to give us a subscribe. All right. Exclusively Van Halen. Here we go.
Hey, this is Michael Anthony right here, and you are watching exclusively Van Halen on the Johnny Beane TV. Keep it there. Woo! See ya!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Dane Zimmerman. I don't know where he went. He's gone. You guys, exclusively Van Halen and back. What's it been? A couple years? A year?
It's been about a year. I was on talking about the audiobook about a year ago, I think.
That's right. You guys remember? You
Right
guys
on the
remember?
date.
There it is. There it is, you guys. Michael Christøpher is joining us.
It's
Great to see you, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good to see you. I'm always
Yeah, man.
watching the show, always following along with your exploits, always seeing what Ned's up to. You know, it's a lot going on in the Johnny Beane world.
It's all the time. Ned's actually taking a nap. He was outside most of the day today. Yeah, but hey, before I forget, you guys, we do giveaways on the channel here, and I found these, so we're gonna give these away tonight. EVH premium quality guitar picks. These are what Edward used right here. They're unopened, so all you gotta do is participate in the live chat, meaning talk to your neighbor, let us know where you're watching from, type a number, anything. In the live chat on YouTube and on Facebook. And here he is. Dane Zimmerman is here. Nice
Hey
t-shirt.
guys. There
Look
it
at
is.
this. We're all wearing Van Halen shirts, I just realized. That's a
We've
coincidence.
all got the original logo on. That's either
Exclusively
the
Van
coolest
Halen.
thing- either the coolest thing or the cheesiest thing, but
We're
I'm
all
here.
wearing classic logo shirts, but we're talking Van Hagar tonight.
yeah.
We love it all, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Love it all.
it's Van
I've got,
Halen.
I've got the
Look at
rings
all
back up
the
there over my
people
shoulder, so we've got the rings represented.
There you go. Those rings is that the I might have asked you this before. Is that metal or is that cardboard?
No, well the one that's the original logo, that's metal. But the rings logo is cardboard. That was actually an in-store for the display for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I worked in a record store at the time, and that was going with me when we were done promoting that record.
So that promotional, it was like this tall.
Yeah.
It was like 3 boxes, and then I had the cassettes, and dude, I had 2 of those back in the day.
Really?
That display. Yeah. I was walking in and out of record stores back in the day with.
Yeah.
I think the poster actually for Carnal Knowledge, I had like 20 of them at one point.
I had a bunch of flats too, with
Yes.
just the record cover.
Yes.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
look at that.
All right.
Wait, you have one too? Oh, you have one too,
This
Dan?
was on a I was at a bar and this was at the table.
Mm,
This was the table. It was a Van Halen table.
Oh, no
amazing.
way.
that is
No
amazing.
way, man. Yeah, man, I had a whole bunch of those 0812. I still have the promo poster. The poster's like huge. I still have that. Those flats I used to have, and I used to cut them up, which I know is now it's like, oh no. But back in the day, well, you would know if you worked in a record shop, you'd be making displays out of all this material.
And you would cut it. You would make them look different. Like you wouldn't just put the poster on the wall. You would get 15 flats and roll them up and staple them there. And they even did a contest sometimes within the stores. They would say whoever had the best looking display or the most innovative one, you would get some sort of thing. Sometimes it was cheesy. It's like, oh, you get another copy of the record. Other times it'd be like tickets to the show, which back then was so huge to us. You know, we're just like in our teens and getting free concert tickets. That was unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh wow, man, that's cool. I'm glad you actually know what that carnal knowledge display thing is, because nobody knows what that is. I'm like, yeah, it was like this tall, and it had two of those. Each side was the VH. I actually still have one of those. I'm pointing at your there. I still have one of those. Is Janice here? Janice the intern, if you're here, send me a tweet, or I'm sorry, an X, and remind me to get the cardboard VH logo out of the shed, because I still have it.
Was there a long
It's out in your
cardboard
shed.
tube in it? Is that what held it together? Was a long cardboard tube, or was
No.
it? Okay.
It was basically, I want to say it was two. I still have photos of it. I still have photos of my room from like 1992, where you could see those things. It was like two cardboard, one on top of the other. Each side had like photos of the band, and then like a red side with like the VH, the logo, and then the very top of it held the cassettes and the CDs. Like all the previous ones. It actually said 1984, 5150, you know, all that. And then each side would have that logo that you have there.
Right.
And probably like 20 years ago, I had such a collection of Van Halen stuff. I wish I still had most of it now, because I'd be giving it away on these shows. You know, but 20 years ago, I had so much stuff. And if I still had one of those, you know, it'd be sitting right there, you know.
Right.
It'd be awesome.
I saw one on eBay a little while ago. Maybe that had to be 3 years ago. I think it was before Eddie passed. And they were trying to sell it for some crazy amount of money. I think like $800 or something.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know if they sold it or what happened. I just remember it popped up in one of the Van Halen groups or message boards.
I would have sold mine like 20 years ago, and I probably sold it for like $100 or something, you know. I had every t-shirt you could think of. I had Turbo, I mean, just everything. Everything. I mean, that's kind of why I do these shows.
A lot of Starbucks.
You know. See, now I'm
That's a
addicted
lot
to
of
Starbucks. So everything, I just drink Starbucks all day. But really quickly, let's say hello to the top tier of channel members here on Johnny Beane TV YouTube station. Channel membership, it's a way you can help support the channel and support these shows. And the top tier, they get their names read at the top of every talk show, such as this. They are currently CC, Stephen Franklin, Michael Smith, Music Therapy Laz, Sherman Callahan, 40 Grit, where are you? John Moronic, Majestic PB and J-Cat, Guitarman 45, Janice Lala, the intern, R-Habs, Warlag, Patty Dill, and Faithful Guitar Co. That's Lewis. Channel membership. So we can help support the channel and support these shows. But if you want to help support in other ways, Super Chats is a way you can help support the channel. It's not free doing this stuff. And with any Super Chats,
the channel members here tonight.
I know there's several right there. We got so many channel members. You guys are the best. But
Look at
Super
all
Chats.
the channel members here tonight.
Super Chats is a way you can help support the channel. And on this channel, Actually, it changes the color of these lights in what we call the guitar noir. You see, some cool, stuff, guitars. We got prizes back there. We got Funko Pops. Guitar noir.
The guitar more.
Guitar noir. And this is a podcast. Michael's like, what's all that crazy? What's all with all the crazy noises? This is a podcast too, so it does have to be kind of exciting, I guess. It's like we're doing radio. I was explaining to somebody yesterday. I'm like, this is like doing a radio show. You gotta have like all these like cool, I don't know about that, but
the ice cream for your ear you need.
Yes, yes. Anyway, there we go. You guys know the drill. Super chats will change those colors in real time if you'd like to help support the channel. And then we're also live on Facebook, Johnny Beane personal page, where we have Facebook stars. It's the way you can help support over on Facebook. And speaking of Facebook, we're live in the exclusively Van Halen group. It's a 62,000 members. EVH Gear Fans Live group, EVH Gear Fans Live page, Johnny Beane TV group. We're live on Twitter, which is actually now called X. And this is a podcast on Spotify, so you can follow us around. Actually, we're everywhere. Everywhere there is, we have a presence. So give us a like, give us a follow.
Look at all the people listening to the podcast tonight.
Look at all the ears tonight. Yes. All right. Yeah. So Michael, let's really quickly. We have time to kill. Why don't we introduce yourself to people that haven't seen you? You're on the show before talking about your book.
Yeah, so my book came out in 2021, Van Halen, the Eruption and the Aftershock, which came out when a lot of books were coming out on Van Halen. We had a real dry period where there were no books, and then all of a sudden there's a book every other week getting released. What separated mine's about the entire band, not just Eddie, which is why it's got the entire band on the cover. Even Wolfgang and Gary are on the cover of that book. So that was my thing when I was coming on before. But at the heart of it, I'm a huge Van Halen fan, as we all are. It's my group. It's my favorite group. So love talking about them any chance that I can get. I also do a ton of other writing. I'm a music journalist. I'm an author that's done other books. I have upcoming books. We can, talk about that at some point during the show, but a lot of my stuff is out there.
Very good.
Welcome.
Awesome. And yes, welcome back. Welcome back, man.
Always excellent to be here.
Any links that you want to share too, just let me know and I'll put them in the description of this video.
Yeah, okay.
So Van Halen for life. That's right, Mike Olson. Let's say hello to some people here. Let's see. We got Rock Daddy is here. We got Ronnie Parker. We got John Dean. Let's see. John Dean. You were the one that you were actually at the Live Without a Net taping, right? He was telling us a story how he was the guy that threw that shoe on stage. The one that Edward's holding. Do you remember that part?
Yeah. He's the one that threw the shoe up there.
That's what he said. Yeah. Dakota is here. Yeah, we have a lot of people. A lot of Van Halen fans. MPN.
The guy that won the MTV Lost Weekend has come on this channel too, Michael. The winner of the Lost Weekend. Remember that? Yeah, he's been on.
Yeah.
Kurt Jeffrey. Actually, he did a channel ID. Here it is. Can I get that?
Hey, this is Kurt Jeffries from Lost Weekend with Van Halen, and you're listening to Johnny Beane Radio. Yeah, radio. Whatever. My mind's.
Can I get that?
Hey, this is Kurt Jeffries from Lost.
He's awesome. He watches
on.
this too. You never know. He might be watching this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Garguts is here watching along.
Funny about
getting
that?
a Whataburger. Right on. Yes.
What's funny about Jeff though? He was in a
Kurt.
He was in an accident or something like 2 or 3 weeks before that lost weekend, and he had like a steel plate in his head or something. And he shouldn't have been going and partying like that. It was like really kind of a scary thing because he had like a steel plate in his head something like 2 weeks before that.
He was at home recuperating. I guess from an accident, and that's when he saw the commercial for the MTV contest, and he's like, "I'm going to enter that, and I'm going to win it," and he did.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. No mere mortal should have been partying with Van Halen in 1984, let alone somebody that was recovering from a fall and had a
that's just, it was dangerous. And he refused. He didn't tell anybody about this. When they finally found out, like halfway through day 1 or halfway through day 2, they made him go and relax. Management finally did find out.
Yeah, they put him under lock and key after that. It was no more David Lee Roth for you.
Oh my gosh.
So what was the first Van Halen show that you ever saw, Michael? What was the thing first got you into Van Halen? Yeah, what was your first concert?
Well, what first got me into them was I had an uncle that was a couple years older than me who played me Women and Children first. And I was just sold on that. Then it became everything was about Van Halen. But I was really a little too young, and I didn't see them until the Balance tour. Yeah, whichever one Alice in Chains opened for them, which I believe was Balance. Or
Carnal Knowledge.
Okay, then it was 91. Yeah,
91.
Carnal Knowledge. Yeah. So yeah, I had to wait a long time to see them with Dave. And that was my guy. That's what I wanted to see, and waited all those years. And we know how the tease was there in '96, and finally we got it in 2007.
And how many times did you see them on the last few tours?
Oh God, double digits. Yeah, had to be double digits. Because I'm originally from Philadelphia, and I remember when it started. I live in Boston now. I remember when it started, Philadelphia was like an early date, maybe the 3rd or 4th date. And then Boston was a few after that. And there was joking amongst my friends that they're not going to make it past Philadelphia. You better come down here to see it. So every time it would come through, I'd be going down there. And I was at the Cafe Wa show, which was ridiculous.
Oh, cool. No way.
That one was
the Cafe Wa show.
Yeah.
Was that down in Cabo, or what was that? What was the Cafe Wa show?
No, this was to promote a different kind of truth, and it was at the club in New York City, Cafe Wa, which only held about 200 and some people. So it was invite only. It was a lot of industry, media, television people, personal friends of the band, and it was Dave.
I imagine that was Dave's idea to play there.
Yeah, because his uncle Manny had owned it for a number of years.
Okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah, he had a connection to it. I remember I was sitting at home. They were going to have a live feed from that, and I was sitting here ready, and then right when they're about to start, the feed shut off. But that's cool that you were there for that, man.
Yeah. It's one of those things I'll never forget.
It's like seeing Van Halen just in a small club.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was right at the front of the stage, and the stage came up to maybe my mid-thigh.
Oh, man.
Nuts.
Wow. Cool. So you saw that one, and then you saw some of the later ones.
Yeah, I all through the reunion, up through the 2015 tour. The last show I saw was when the 2015 one rolled through Boston, and that was it. Yeah.
I saw that one in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
they
saw
played
that right towards
Phoenix,
the end.
and then I think they had and then they went to LA and played the last show. I think I saw their second or maybe third to the last show they ever did
Wow.
here in Phoenix.
Oh,
But then they
man.
went to LA and called it quits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was 2 shows at the Hollywood Bowl.
Hmm.
So yeah, that makes sense. You would have been the third from the last.
Wow. I saw them. My first show was November 5th, 1988, OE812 tour. They had done the Monsters of Rock tour that summer, and then that winter they did a 45-day tour just for the record itself. And they had a band called Private Life, a band that Edward's wife at the time, Valerie, had discovered back in 1984. Edward had produced their album, so they were touring with them. So I saw them in '88. I saw them Carnal Knowledge era. I saw them in '91, again in '92. In '93, I saw them 3 times. '95, I saw them, I want to say 3 times. Van Halen 3, I missed because I was on tour myself that year, so I didn't get to make any of those shows. And then I saw them 04. I saw them in San Jose. 07, San Jose, and Oakland. What was after that? 2012, I saw them San Jose and Oakland. And then 2015, I saw them Concord, California, where I was 10 rows back from Edward on his side.
Nice.
I had met him like the previous year at like a private party. So I talked to him and everything, but I had never seen him play like that close up.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing, you know. And then I saw them in Shoreline Amphitheater, Mountain View, California, and then that was probably shortly before the end, because, you know,
Right.
they would have been here and then maybe down to where Dane is and then LA, you know.
Well, for the 2015 show in Boston, I had a photo pass for it. And as I was telling you before we came on air, I practice mediocre photography. And so I'm right in front. And before we went up, the people at the venue for Live Nation, they said, which side do you want to be on? And I'm looking at the stage, and it's like, well, I'm either going to be on Wolfgang's side or I'm going to be on Eddie's side. So of course I go over to Eddie's side. And you're there for the first 3 songs, no flash. That's pretty standard at concerts. And I mean, I could barely remember to shoot any of the show because I'm just right in front of Eddie as he's playing these songs. And they I think they opened with Romeo Delight or Light Up the Sky. I think they opened with Light Up the Sky.
Light Up the Sky is what they opened when I saw them in 2015.
But Romeo Delight was 2 or 3, and that's one of my favorite songs. And I'm just watching him play the guitar.
You're just standing there drooling.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like forgetting to even. Well, really quick, what was it like? Because I remember there was a YouTube video that came out. YouTube video that was released, and whoever filmed it, they were right in front of Eddie, and all you could hear was his amp coming through. So it was almost like an isolated live track of him.
Yeah.
Like when you were there, do you remember?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it like that?
Because I know that if I stepped a little bit further away, I would get the mix. But then if I was right in front, that's all I could hear.
Oh,
and so I kept on planning myself right in that spot. And at one point, I kind of just had my camera and I'm holding it. And Eddie just walks right up to me, right up to the camera, and just gives me the thumbs up. And I don't even think I was looking through it. And I just just clicked it.
Oh.
And it ended up, that picture's in the book. It's in the
no way.
Eruption, the Aftershock. Yeah.
This book right here.
So your book, let's see about book quick. Let me ask you. So Michael, your book, is it sort of a biography kind of thing where you just go through the history of the band, or is it your own personal experiences seeing the band, or sort of what kind of book is it as far as?
No, it's the
you
the
tell
history
old
of the band.
stories, or
It's the whole history of the band from,
okay.
I wanted to kind of pick up right after Van Halen Rising left off. So I give a really brief overview of the beginning, how they got to the point of the first record. But then it's a full story up until Eddie passes away. And in the book, it's filled with a bunch of interviews, a lot of them previously unpublished, with Sammy, with Michael Anthony, and a lot of other musicians that I'd interviewed over the years. It's kind of funny because I had there was somebody that was asking me about doing the audiobook because it's on Audible and wherever else the audiobooks are. I mean, this wasn't like a self-published book or anything. This was a real publisher, and it went out there. But yeah, there was a bunch of interviews with people that had either toured with Van Halen or were influenced by them. I talked to William Duvall from Alice in Chains, Phil Anselmo from Pantera. I mean, I was talking to people that just loved Van Halen, like Adam Carolla. I talked to Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's. Just everybody that I'd come across over the years who was either tangentially associated with Van Halen or were in Van Halen. There was a Gary interview that had never been published that I'd done before. So yeah, it was it's a bunch of stuff in there. I'm pretty proud of it to this day.
I met Gary Cherone one night. I was we were playing the casino down in Tucson, inside the casino. It's the Casino del Sol down in Tucson. And Sammy Hagar and Gary Cherone were out in the big AA amphitheater. I'm going to say this was 2011. And after Gary Cherone's band got finished out in the big amphitheater, they came into the casino and they're like, "Hey man, let us play some songs." So I just handed over my bass and they played like 5 songs on our gear. It was super cool. They opened up with Pump It Up, the Elvis Costello song.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And they did Wholehearted. I remember Wholehearted was the third song that they played, and they played Cheap Trick. What Cheap Trick was it? They played a Cheap Trick song. It was really cool. So I got to hang with Gary Cherone, and I had this big old giant D. Schneider wig on because we were a tribute to the 80s. Yeah. So it was a good time though. Got to talk to Gary for a few minutes.
Yeah,
and we didn't have a cool backstage. Guy. I would like to say, I was backstage with him, but literally it was just a loading dock, out behind the stage. There was no backstage area.
That's still backstage. Dock. Anything that's not on stage or in front of it is backstage.
Yeah. That is backstage. Loading dock counts as backstage.
How many people can say they talked to him on a loading dock?
Everybody knows about the Sam and Dave tour, but there actually was a Gary Cherone and a Sammy Hagar tour. I don't know how many dates they played, but they were definitely at the AVA Amphitheater in Tucson. About 2011, maybe 2012.
Yeah, I don't think it was a full-blown tour. It was like a number of dates, though, because I know wasn't Gary
just a number of dates
with them or something. I feel like he came up and sang with Sammy.
All I know is what happened inside the casino on the stage that my band was playing on. Yeah,
and on the loading dock.
Yeah, that's all I know about what happened. It's the only time I heard about those two guys playing together. That's all I remember too. Yeah. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, maybe.
Time is just flying by, man. It's unbelievable, especially today. Look at this. We're 30 minutes into this.
So I'm hearing a lot of stuff that now about how 1984. I'm hearing some rumors lately about how Edward and Dave were a little unsatisfied with Michael Anthony because he's not writing songs. He shouldn't get as much money. This and that. He shouldn't be they shouldn't have 4 partners in all the writing and all that kind of stuff. What's your thoughts on how they treated Michael in the 1984 around that time? Do you have you heard anything about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the Noel Monk book, when I think it was there where it was first revealed that they had him sign that contract that he basically gave up all his rights. Although that's sort of maybe been disproved as well, that he signed the contract, but it was never enforced. But for whatever reason, Eddie just had this stick up his butt about Michael and not contributing anything to the songwriting, even though Alex didn't contribute anything to the songwriting process. But of course, Alex's blood.
Right.
I don't know. I think at that point, you're on top of the world, pun intended, and you've already had all these albums come out and you've split it 4 ways. What's the big deal all of a sudden? Why are you so angry about it now? And don't you see that you're being so hypocritical by not putting those same restrictions on Alex? And I get it's a relative, but I don't know why you would do that to Michael. It was just sort of really bad treatment of him, especially given what a great guy he is.
Well, as a drummer, though, you can always say, "Hey, I put a 4/4 rock beat to that song. No, I put a little swing beat to that song, or I put, a 16th note hi-hat." So he did write drum parts that nobody else in the world, like if you listen to Panama, nobody else in the world on drums would have played Panama like he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? With the weird, boom, 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 Panama. It's not even like a 4/4 count. So you can, as a drummer, you can say, I wrote the drum parts.
Sure.
And
I think
as a drummer, you arrange things.
Am I muted?
Sometimes, don't you? No, I'm sorry.
You're
John,
like that
go
guy
ahead.
that called up the other night. No, what I think is, because I've heard interviews with Edward and where he kind of talked about, a lot of this stuff and how he writes the songs, and he would say that him and Alex would jam every day. So it sounds like it was Edward and Alex that were always jamming regardless. They were always playing, coming up with I think that the Edward would come up with the seed, the riff. He would show it to Alex. Actually, Edward had said that Alex is the one responsible for the song Pound Cake. Alex remembered a small riff that Edward had played during some jam session, and Alex is like, play this, do this. And that's how Pound Cake was formed.
Wow.
So I think Alex did, contribute to the arranging and helping, coming up with ideas. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, back in the early days, I think
I understand how that can be.
They were all
writing.
It's, I mean, it gets tricky, later on, when management gets involved and everybody. Well, I mean, Michael, we were just talking about the Police. Well, we were talking about Andy Summers, before we started. If you go to the Police, they were fighting to get their songs on their records because they all wrote. Yeah. But Sting mainly, so remember Synchronicity had one Andy Summers song called Mother, Miss Gradenko, one Stuart Copeland tune. Everything else was Sting and was the hits.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think band members, if they write, they're always looking to get their stuff, published and all that. Who knows? I mean, it's a tricky business, really.
I just wonder why wait until then? Why wait until the middle of the 1984 tour to suddenly say we're going to have a contract for you to sign that's going to not only take away all of your rights, but retroactively take them away, take away your publishing or whatever it was.
Wasn't that their biggest selling record at the time? Aside from
I think
the first one, maybe?
It was right around when that had become their biggest selling record.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, maybe that was the instigating factor that, wow, we're really selling a lot. And why is Mike getting all this money? I don't know. It seems like, but it does seem like Dave was behind.
And
pushing
he
it as
sang
well.
so good. Yeah.
Oh,
Dave was pushing
Van
it too.
Halen
For
would
some
not have been
reason,
Van
Billy
Halen if it
Sheehan
wasn't
came
for
around.
if it wasn't for hang on, watch this, Michael. We like to every time there's a name that gets dropped, we always have like a where is that? Now I lost it. I've got so many things
Michael
here.
Anthony here.
Where's that? Well, we played that. We got that one. I can't even find it. Oh, there it is. Who was the other name you just dropped?
Michael
Dave?
Anthony. Oh, Billy Sheehan.
Hey, this is Billy Sheehan.
as
You're
they
watching
saw Billy
Johnny Bean
Sheehan,
TV.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Hola, amigos. This is your bass player, Billy Sheehan. You're watching me right here on my dear friend, John. It went away.
Oh no.
Johnny Bean.
He forgot my name. He said we were good friends, and he didn't remember who he was talking to.
It's true. He's an
What was I even
impressive
saying?
bass player. You got to give him that. But
Oh, Van
Michael did
Halen
such
wouldn't
a
have been
great
Van
job.
Halen if it wasn't Michael
No.
Anthony, because they did have somebody before Michael. They had somebody when they were like a power trio, and I know people that were in
Yeah.
bands with Van Halen when they were kids, when they were growing up and stuff. And no, it wouldn't have been Van Halen without Michael, without the background vocals, without the the bass. I mean everything.
Yeah.
And people do say the best singer in Van
And
Halen
in-
ever was Michael Anthony.
And even the 1984 concert, they sold 2 shows out here in Phoenix, and they kick into Al Waite, and Edward is playing his keyboard, but then there's Michael Anthony on the other side of the stage, and he's playing the bass part on a keyboard. They gave him the key, and he could pull that off. It's like, no problem. Throw the keyboard in front of me. I'll play the bass part. Boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there might have been a
He did a lot of
misconception. There was a misconception over the years that Michael Anthony wasn't a good bass player, but he played what he needed to play. He played to serve the song, but he's talented. I mean, the guy can jam. If you've ever seen videos of him just jamming out, especially when he plays with Sammy, he can really play the bass and do some really interesting things on it. I wouldn't put him at the same level as Billy Sheehan, but there's not many people that are at that level. But yeah,
Right.
he's a great player.
Van Halen didn't need a Billy Sheehan, because you had Edward and you had Michael playing, with Alex, laying the foundation for Edward to do whatever Edward wanted to do. And I think if somebody like Billy Sheehan was in there, it would have gotten more. There would have been more going on. And I guess we did have that with like Mr. Big, with Paul Gilbert and Billy, which is good, which is cool. But I think Van Halen was pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
I agree.
You don't need too many virtuosos in a band. It gets a little too muddled, and you're not gonna draw that crowd that Van Halen drew, because they just had the perfect mix. A singer that was not that great, but they had a backing vocalist that made up for it. Then you've got this phenomenal guitarist. Alex is just beyond rock solid. You had all those crucial ingredients, but if you put too many virtuosos, it doesn't work as well.
Eat 'em and smile.
Yeah,
Turns
I
into
mean,
eat 'em and smile,
that's exactly what it was.
which I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love the first Dave album.
Yeah,
Or the
and that was
second Dave
great.
album.
But that didn't last.
It can't sustain itself.
That really didn't last. They
Yeah.
left. I think Billy was telling us he left like after the next record. He didn't even do the tour.
He didn't do. Yeah,
18 months later or
know.
something.
He left. I think he was telling us because he didn't like the way the recording was going.
Yeah.
He didn't like the vibe in the studio, or he couldn't remember my name.
There's guys that you want to rehearse the songs, and then you want to go in the studio and play them like you had them. But after a while, you don't end up with all that rehearsal time. You just go into the studio and make shit up on the spot. And if it sticks and they edit it in, they mix it in there. And then you got to relearn what you've just recorded. So it gets tricky the way that, you know, if you don't give yourself a year in Dave's basement to write a new album, you know, if you're just trying to do it on the fly, that's probably what Dave and Ted Templeman were trying to do. They were trying to just go in the studio and record on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, David Lee Roth, that really was Dave's band.
Yeah.
Once Roth went solo, it was his band, and you were playing, you know, for him.
And I think he started going into keyboards a little bit too much on Skyscraper, which turned Billy off. Which is really interesting because I think that Dave was a little behind the times as far as when it came to keyboards. Like he was adding them in years too late. I mean, they were sort of on the way out when Skyscraper came out, which was what, 88?
The intro to it's just like living in paradise. The keyboard part at the beginning of that was kind of these are cheesy sounding keyboards. I like keyboards like Mr. Crowley keyboards, right? I like some keyboards are awesome.
Or Deep Purple
keyboards. Awesome keyboards. Deep Purple, John Lord, but just like Living in Paradise tune, those were some cheesy keyboard tones.
Yeah,
actually, that one wasn't the cheesiest. The cheesiest was a song called
Stand Up.
Stand Up.
Yeah,
you listen to that now, it's so dated, man. It's embarrassing, and I hate to say that, but it's true. I loved Skyscraper when it came out. I remember doing a paper out, you know, to pay for my drum set back in the day, and and I've listened to Skyscraper all the time, and at the time it was new and whatever, and just hearing the Steve Vai guitar solos like going back and forth and the panning, I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing. You know, not realizing there's like echoes and overdubs, you know, because if you didn't know about all that stuff then, but yeah, I thought Skyscraper was great, but now it's just, I mean, it's a good memory of that time, I think.
Oh yeah,
but there's a lot of other stuff that really does stand up. You know,
but Dave had some fun, creative lyric hunt, though. He always had it. His lyrics always made you giggle a little bit in most of the tunes.
Yeah, I think that just after that, though, after the lyrics, there just wasn't a lot of substance musically. And I mean, you look at what the peers were doing. Guns N' Roses was on the way in. Aerosmith had done Permanent Vacation. And while there were keyboards on that, it wasn't done in a way that really took away from their rock edge. And I think that some of the stuff Dave was doing took a little of his edge off, especially on Skyscraper.
And
then by the time he tried to recapture it on A Little Ain't Enough, it was way too late.
Little Ain't Enough. Yeah, with Jason.
1990. Yeah. Nirvana was out.
And then after that, Your Filthy Little Mouth.
Right.
There was that, and there was like, I was like, And then after that, he put out a record with Betty Page on the front. Remember that?
Right, DLR Band. That album was really
yeah. That was John 5 on guitar.
Yeah,
that was good stuff.
I don't think that was even on a major label though.
No,
I think that was an independent label.
It was on Dave's own label, What Was That Records. What was that? Yeah.
And then the Diamond Dave album that came out in 03 or whatever that was, or 99. No,
I think it was
somewhere around there. 2001, 2000. Yeah, somewhere around there. And he was doing a lot of covers. He was doing bluesy traditional things. And I enjoy hearing Dave do traditional covers though, for some reason. I always kind of enjoyed some of that.
What do you guys think of those videos that he drops? Those 15-second little clips of things.
I mean, it's Dave. It's Dave doing his Dave thing. I know some of the recent ones he's done are repurposed from the No Holds Barbecue.
Mhm.
But then he's had some other ones where it's obviously today and he's just doing that kind of, old time dancing around, and he likes it. It's
Mhm.
fun. It's fun to see Dave having fun.
Mhm.
And yeah, because he puts his suit on. He's got his camera guys hanging around. He's got his lighting guy, and when you're an artist, you have a little bit of satisfaction every time you create something new. So even though he's retired, so to speak, he still has a little sense of accomplishment that he created something by making a 15-second video of him dancing around, doing the soft shoe kind of dance steps, and having people be like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
You still get a little tiny bit of accomplishment that I did something today. I got up, put my suit on, made a video.
Mhm. And he did re-record a lot of those classic tunes as well,
Right.
which I guess they're still releasing. I don't think they've released them all yet. I think there's still
No, I think
more.
maybe 7 of them have come out. There's still
Like
more.
a year. It's been like a year since, or something. Yeah, I think there's more coming out.
It's funny, whenever Dave puts something out, whether it's covering the Van Halen songs that have come out, or when he does just it could be a 30-second clip of him dancing. In any Facebook group that you're on or any YouTube channel, it's either people completely hate it or they love it. And they say, that's Dave being Dave. And other people are like, other people wouldn't be happy until somebody locks Dave in a room and never lets him out and never lets him sing another note again. His time's over. What's he doing? It's, he's enjoying his life. That's what he's doing. He's not putting those videos. A lot of people are hypothesizing that he's putting those songs out, the Van Halen covers, so he can license them and get paid all the money for it. It's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with that at all. It's Dave doing what makes Dave happy. But people just either just dig into it and get so offended by it. I mean, that's why you've got Van Halen 1. You can listen to that. You don't need to listen to 2022 Dave, which is when he recorded them. You don't have to listen to Atomic Punk with his current vocals on it. Pull out the record. Listen to the original if you don't like it. Otherwise, just enjoy Dave being himself.
That's true. I had the theory, and I said this a year ago when we were hearing all those old songs that he re-recorded, and I just was kind of under the impression, I was kind of thinking, okay, now if he comes out of retirement and he gets a gig up in Vegas or something, we at least have an idea of what he currently sounds like. So it's not going to be completely shocking to the audience that goes to Vegas and listens to him if they've heard these re-recorded songs a bunch of times. We know what to expect.
Well, I think there's something to that. I also think that, there were those dates that he had lined up in Vegas that were supposedly his final dates ever. And I think maybe after they got canceled because of COVID or something COVID adjacent, I thought maybe those dates were going to get rescheduled in the spring. And it was right around then that those songs got recorded. I think there could have been a part of him that thought, you know what, this is as good as I'm going to sound. I'm probably not going to sing again in any large scale touring. Why not put some of this on tape? And this will be a little time capsule for the last time he really went for it, since he didn't get to do it live. And then why not release them for fun? I mean, that's just me guessing that. I have no idea.
I think it's almost like Dave discovering the internet, putting out little like TikTok style, even though some of it's clips from from years ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like, hey, we can put this out. And actually, I know a guy, you guys, I know somebody that I think he did the editing for that No Holds Barred barbecue.
Oh, really?
Video. Yeah. And he actually worked with Andy Summers. So see, there's a connection.
Wow, it's all full circle.
Yeah.
I'll never forget getting that No Holds Barbecue in the mail from the publicity company. It just showed up on my doorstep one day, and it was just a VHS tape in a white slipcase, and it just said on the side, David Lee Roth, No Holds Barbecue. I'm like, what is this? And putting it in, it was like, what is this? I mean, talk about pop art. And look, it's obvious. I'm a David Lee Roth apologist, but I thought that was just the most incredible piece of art out there. Just this insanity. And then you find out years later how much money he put into it. You know, just doing all this stuff on the grounds of his house, basically. Yeah, one of a kind guy, David Lee Roth. You'll never ever see another one like him.
No, I mean that's why he's David Lee Roth.
Yeah,
you know, I mean a lot of these guys. There's only one Dane, and we just lost him. You know, I don't know.
I know he's gone now.
Where he went, but. Let's see. I know I told you we usually do about an hour. We're almost at an hour of it. Let's talk about that box set. Now that Dane is here, because we didn't talk about this last week, Dane, because technically we didn't know about it yet. The box set that's coming out, the Van Hagar remastered, and that's very important, you guys. They're remasters.
Yeah.
They're not remixes.
Right. Which still a lot can be done with remastering, because especially 5150 and OU812, they are really lacking sonically. Even if it's, you know, tweaking the bass a little bit or raising the volume, they both need it. I, for one, am really happy and excited about the Van Hagar years getting the spotlight shown on them. But I have issues with it, and I think a lot of people have issues with it. I mean, like most things that come officially from Van Halen, the whole rollout of this collection just drives me bonkers. The fact that they're calling it the Collection 2, everybody starts wondering, well, I want to go get the Collection 1, which is David Lee Roth. Well, there is no Collection 1 that you can physically hold. I mean, that's what's crazy. The original collection was nothing more than all of the David Lee Roth era audio files. It was released right around Tokyo Dome, and it wasn't just the 6-pack. It was the 6-pack, it was Tokyo Dome, and it was the 2 Best of Volume 1 songs. So there was never a physical collection. What a lot of people are kind of tying it to is last year Walmart put together that exclusive vinyl box set. And that's what the Collection 2 looks like. It looks the exact same as that. It's in the black slipcase. It's got the Rings logo on the front, whereas the one that Walmart put out just had the one that we're all wearing tonight, the original logo. But yeah, there was never a physical collection, Volume 1, that you can just pick up and say, I'm going to put this right next to the new one that comes out.
I remember going to Walmart and trying to find that vinyl set.
Yeah.
Because I've got people all over the world, you know, because I do these shows, and some people they can't get, you know, some of the stuff, and they're huge collectors, and so I'll pick up a lot of this stuff, and they'll like, you know, they'll pay me, you know, to send them, you know, they'll buy it, you know, they'll pay me to buy it, and then I'll send it off to them, you know. So I've done that, and I was gonna get that Walmart vinyl, and I couldn't find it, you know.
I've seen it online, but I mean, like anything else, you can find it online. It just depends how much you want to pay for it. Though I think even recently I looked at the Walmart site and they still had copies on there. So I don't know. I do remember there was an issue with I think it was 1984. Some of the copies of 1984 had Diver Down inside of it instead of 1984, which is
Wow.
pretty disappointing. You know, you're ready to throw on House of Pain and you get Happy Trails. You know? So yeah, there was a lot of people disappointed with the way the box set came out.
Well, for collectors, that's actually pretty good.
One time,
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go out and buy those now.
One time, way back in the day, like 30 years ago, I went into at one of those like sex shop kind of places, and I bought a VHS tape. Yeah, I bought a VHS tape of Deep Throat. Okay, I'm all excited to see the movie.
You're admitting this? We're live, Dane.
I know it's okay. I was like 20 at the time. I throw it in my DVD, my VHS player, and it was completely blank. They sold me a blank cassette, VHS cassette of Deep Throat. They had the package and everything. I'm like, all right. They had 100 of them there. I'm like, okay, cool. You know.
And you weren't going to go back and return it, huh?
No, I don't think I did that. No. Remember it being blank. I was like, wow, it's disappointing. So thinking you're going to get
you could have imagined whatever you wanted by that point.
Comes out. Mike wants to hear more about my Triple X stories.
It would have been funnier if when you put it on, it wasn't blank, but it was David Lee Roth's No Holds Barbecue.
Ah!
Yeah. That'd have been awesome. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Being blank though. Yeah, VHS tape.
That's sad, man.
That's a sad story.
I was married at the time.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It wasn't that bad. I was married at the time.
Wait a minute. So when she found it, it's like, oh, it's just a blank tape.
But looking at I do want to. I'll talk sex tapes all night. Or what are your thoughts on this box set though? The way that it's laid out. I mean, forget about the fact that no collection one exists. You know, there's people are complaining there's no rarities on it, even though there's a rarities disc. They're not really rarities to hardcore fans. They're songs we've had for years.
I've heard guys complaining about that.
Mm-hmm. I have an answer for that.
The Live Without a Net. What about Live Without a Net? That's not in the bit.
No, but my thoughts on
I'm happy if sorry, Johnny, I keep cutting you off. I'm happy if
your tape was blank.
Michael Anthony and Sammy Hagar and even Alex are making a little bit of money at this. Sammy deserves this. There was a lot of years where nobody was playing the Sammy Hagar stuff except for Sammy. And Michael Anthony was a part of all this stuff, and I'm happy for him because he's getting a cut of this. So I'm happy for those guys. And being remastered, you hear stories about your old CDs being over compressed. So if, like you were saying, Michael, if there's a way that in remastering it, it can open it up a little bit and you hear a little bit more clarity, and maybe your stereo gets wider on some of it compared to the old CDs that were over compressed. Maybe it'll sound better. So there is that.
Well, under compressed, I think.
Don Landy is the one that did the remasters. So I don't know whether to be happy about that or scared of that. I think I'm happy about it. I think that it's going to be.
I think fine. I'd be happy about it too. Because how many years has Don been going around and he hears it on the radio or something, and up in his brain, he's probably tells himself, "Man, if I probably should have, a few more dBs here, or I should have maybe dialed that down."
Mm-hmm.
He probably has those thoughts where I could have done.
Yeah. But see, radio is different than a regular hearing a song on a CD in your car, it's totally different, because you'll notice if you turn on the radio and you hear the same song, it sound the same. It sounds super smashed, super compressed. There's no dynamics, because that's what radio does. So a lot of times, you would get like some special, because I was a huge Van Halen collector years ago. Like I was telling you guys, I had everything back in the day, and I still have, a few things here and there. But you would get like these, like a single to, let's take 812. There was singles for like "Feels So Good." You would and the B-sides to those singles would be radio
Edits.
singles, radio edits,
Right.
radio remixes. There's actually a remix of "Finish What You Started" that I can't even tell the difference from it. I don't know. Maybe there is, but let's say like the 0812 album. If I listen to that in my car on my iPad, I have to have the volume cranked to 100.
Yes. Yeah.
To actually be like, yeah, and then I have to remember, if I switch to anything else, to quickly turn it down. Otherwise, you'll just get blasted.
Yeah. You eject your CD and the radio comes in, it's twice as loud. Yeah, so that's the mastering tech. There's the industry level that when they master something,
Well,
and
that's also the difference for nowadays, is anything that's going to get remastered is going to get mega boosted volume wise, bass wise, and we have had a few of these Hagar era tracks remastered in the past with, say, Best of Both Worlds album. Like you listen to like When It's Love on there, you can totally hear the difference from the regular album.
Yeah.
As far as again, it's remastered. The master, do the master tapes even still exist? Do we know? Because I know Edward has,
Warner Brothers,
all the stuff,
they're at 5150.
Edward 5150 does have all those tapes, but those are all Edward's personal tapes. I don't think those are the actual masters for their albums. And remember, there was that warehouse fire years ago that destroyed like thousands of masters for albums.
Yeah, but Van Halen wasn't affected by that. They definitely weren't. So any masters that Warner Brothers has, I mean, I'm pretty sure these are the Warner Brothers remasters, because after it was recorded, Eddie still had to send it out, because it had to go to the label. So that's what I believe these are.
And this is Warner Brothers that's putting this out,
right?
Or Rhino. It's Rhino Records that's putting it out.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was interesting for them to put Humans Being out as the sort of the teaser for the box set. And I mean, that already sounded great. I don't think it needed much remastering. I would have really loved if they had done Dreams, or take something off of 0812. I know, something where you could really hear the difference. But then, of course, the box set doesn't come out until October. That's months that people can just dissect whatever you put out. So maybe put out Humans Being to be safe, and then late September put out something like, I don't know, Feels So Good.
Yeah, it'll be. I know we're all excited to hear, especially 0812 being remastered. Those songs.
How many copies do you think will sell? Rhino Records, how many copies are they going to sell?
Well, it's going to be CD and vinyl, so it's not just a vinyl set. It's a really, really cheap price point. I was shocked at that. What's it? Something like 130, 120?
It was like 125. What was it? I just talked about this last week. It was something like $50 for the CD, for the CDs, and like 125 for the album, I think. Albums. Something like that.
Which is a great price. I mean, I know it's only what, 5 It's only 5 vinyl in there if you're counting the rarities disc. I mean, that's still you're getting
Oh, yeah.
a nice box.
So as far as the rarities,
Right?
you
Yeah.
guys, the thing is, if it wasn't for the internet, half the stuff on that would be rarities because most people wouldn't even have heard of some of those songs if it wasn't for the internet, I think. Because some of those tracks were only released on certain pressings of the albums. Like the song Crossing Over was from the Japan pressing, which I had back in the day.
Yeah.
But then also it was the B-side for Can't Stop Loving You.
Correct.
But I think it's a rarities as far as the casual fan. It's definitely a rarities disc. So I think that's what they're shooting for with that.
That's
but as far
absolutely what it is. It's the casual fan doesn't know Crossing Over.
No, not at all. No.
And they may not even know the songs from Best of Both Worlds. I mean, if you were a casual Van Halen fan, you probably already had all the Sammy records. You probably had the Dave records. Why are you going to buy a greatest hits to go along with that? Unless the 3 songs were mind blowing, which
a casual fan would have Van Halen 1, 1984, and 5150.
Yeah.
And that's probably it. Really?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think in the chat?
Unless they really wanted right now, they're going to get From Lawful Carnal Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because right now was huge.
Dude, I still have remember Singles? I have the singles from that, and they released a Right Now. Was it the radio mix? And there's a version of Right Now with no guitar solo in it, but in its place, they raise up the volume of the organ. I have it. This is true. So that could have been a rarity. You know, most of you guys in the chat probably never even heard that. You guys probably never heard it. See,
No,
so that could have been a rarity, but maybe they don't have access to that stuff, or they're saving that stuff for future releases.
Well, that was that mix of Right Now. That's what was sent to like adult contemporary radio, where it would be songs like I don't know, the heaviest they would go would be Fleetwood Mac, and when you have something like Van Halen, the guitar is way too up there. So they put out something where there's no guitar solo, even though it's Van Halen.
Yeah. Can you imagine that, you guys? Yeah, there was no guitar solo in that version of that song.
Yeah.
At all.
Right. I do have to say, talking about the Right Now single, I was telling you earlier, Johnny, that I got the press release for the box set. And it drove me insane that a band as big as Van Halen can't even get a press release that's right. One of the things it said was, when it was talking about From Lawful Carnal Knowledge, saying that there were 7 singles that were released from the record. 7 charting singles. As far as I know, there were 3 singles to the record. Maybe one.
Which one?
That just went to radio.
Carnal Knowledge?
Yeah. From Lawful Carnal Knowledge.
Pound Cake.
Mm-hmm.
Run Around. What else is on that? Top of the World. Right Now. What else was on that record? I can't even.
Nothing that
I'm counting
was getting
4.
released as a single.
Top of the World was a single, because I remember there was 2. There was 3 music videos that came out for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Run Around was huge. Pound Cake, obviously. I mean, that was huge.
Well, you mean you had Man on a Mission, In and Out, Dream is Over. None of them are getting released as singles. Pleasure
I'm
Dome.
thinking Man on a Mission was a B-side, though. Maybe they're counting B-sides.
Oh, that's cheating. If you're counting B-sides.
Maybe they're counting
the Vinyl World.
Hey, Pete.
Johnny Pete, see Vinyl World is in the chat.
Yeah. Hey, man.
He says he heard a mix and jump where they cut the guitar solo right out and went back into the keyboard part.
Really? An official mix?
Crazy.
Because see, now anybody can do a
Yeah.
mix of a song. Oh, wait. Metal Mike is saying, Pound Cake, run around right now, top of the world. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're counting the, like,
Judgment?
that version of Right Now that I was talking about, no solo. Maybe they were counting that as a...
That's an idea.
Release.
Maybe it's, right now they're counting 3 times because there was a adult contemporary mix, there was the rock radio mix, and
Right Now had 3 versions of the song if you bought the single at the time. It had the regular one, it had an edit version, which basically goes right into the song. It plays the piano for like a second and then goes right into it.
yeah,
And then there was that version with no guitar solo.
I still think that's cheating. If you're counting that as, you can't count Right Now more than once. It's one song. I don't care how many ways you cut it up. It's insane, but it's so Van Halen. It's so on brand for Van Halen.
Judgment Day wasn't a single, dude. 5150.
No,
Hello. Judgment Day. Hello.
Hello. That wasn't a single. Trust me, I was there. And Michael worked at a record shop. He'll tell you too. He was stocking the
at
tapes.
that time, I did not stock 7 different singles from Off the Carnal Knowledge. Jeez.
Yeah, but see, we're giving you guys tips. If you want to get some rare Van Halen stuff that you're not going to get from this box set, go out and find the singles from these albums.
Yeah.
You'll find the rare mixes of these songs. Or the radio station CDs, the promo CDs.
If you look at the version of Humans Being that they released for the video, they might have done 2 different YouTube videos just in the past week. One of them is the edit of Humans Being. I think it's only 3 minutes and 40 seconds long.
Officially, that was released back in the day. The version of that was an edit version that skipped a guitar solo.
Yes.
It went into the second solo, I guess. So what I saw was the exact same thing that was released back in the day, but then they also released like a version of the song where it was just the VH logo. There was no video. Like a lyric video with no lyrics.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
full
Michael, your mom
5-minute
is
version?
watching.
That I can't remember. Who's watching?
Michael Christopher's mom was watching. Cynthia.
Oh,
Really?
geez.
She just stopped
Mom.
to say hello.
My parents don't wait. My parents
that?
wait till the reruns.
My mom is the biggest David Lee Roth fan.
Oh, no way.
No way. She does not like David Lee Roth, actually.
Roth had
I
charisma.
ruined David Lee Roth for her.
Hey, Mom.
Oh, God. I don't even get
She likes
embarrassed.
Sammy
anymore.
better than Dave.
She likes anybody.
So she's
better
more
than
of
me.
a Sammy guy than a Dave guy.
I think she's more of an Eddie guy.
I've told this
Yeah.
story before, but my girlfriend had a little encounter with David Lee Roth back in 1980 in backstage in El Paso, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was
my
it,
claim to
is it
fame.
a rated XXX story or?
It was very inappropriate what she did to Dave.
Was there a blank
But,
tape involved?
She said that Dave said that, or my girlfriend said that Dave sang to her the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like something 1980 Dave would do.
What year was this? 80? Was she the inspiration for that joke he would always tell about
I think
groupies
so.
banging on his door, and he finally would let them out?
1980, I think she said, and it was in El Paso, and she had long red hair at the time.
I think he told that story,
He
dude,
was
on a
like
bootleg.
17 or 18, or he was probably
That's
only
back when he
17.
started telling all those stories on stage.
Yeah.
And if your mom was in the chat, then I would tell you exactly what she did to him.
It's almost her bedtime. We'll be able to tell that story soon enough.
Oh man.
So
You
we
guys
can
just
find
use your
rarities out
imagination.
there.
Mhm.
We've got the rarities out there that we can track down. But what about another huge problem people are having with this box set is balance. You've got the one song from Balance that is on a rarities disc. So once again, you get the vinyl.
Is that the
of
one where
Balance.
Eddie sings? Eddie's singing
No.
and they're doing it back and forth. Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay.
No, but well, I mean, see, here's the thing, because I had all of these singles. Like I said, I collected all this stuff back in the day.
Mhm.
I can tell you there was a single. I mean, I might have this wrong. There was a purple edition single of Don't Tell Me. And I know at some point there was a B-side, and it was that dinosaur song,
Yeah,
which I can never pronounce.
Velocitherium.
Yeah.
Right. And they made sure it was on that purple vinyl. So it would have been on vinyl because the edition that came out in the US omitted that song from there for space. But weird enough, in the European version, it had the full album on it.
Wait. So the Balance vinyl doesn't have that instrumental on it?
No, not the US version. And it's not on the one that's coming out on this box set.
I have that.
Are you sure it's on there?
Let me look, actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So what Johnny's going to look at is the instrumental by Eddie, Velocitherium, which I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of it. It was on the CD, it was on the cassette, but it didn't make the vinyl in the United States because the more songs you put on vinyl after a certain point, it just gets way too thin. And that was the song that they decided to take off of it. And now in this release in the box set, they're, instead of putting that song back on Balance on vinyl, they are putting it as a rarity.
Okay. There we go. I can't even see this. It would have been after Doing Time, right?
Yep.
Doing Time is the last song on side 1, and then on side 2 is Aftershock.
Aftershock? Yeah. So that's out of order as well.
So that's not even on here.
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew that. But see, if they want to do rarities, you have like Dreams, which actually there's a this actually came out. This was released with, remember the Blue Angels music video?
Yep.
You hear an extra Eddie lick on the guitar that you didn't hear on the regular album. You hear it on this. That would be a rarity. And then there was actually, they released a Carnal Knowledge box set. You guys probably don't even know this. It was released in like France or Germany, but it wasn't like the Carnal Knowledge album. It was Top of the World. I think it was Top of the World. And then they had a version of Why Can't This Be Love that was like extended, where they just kept repeating like a chorus. Same with Dreams. There was an extended version of Dreams. That might actually be on here. No, there was an extended version of Dreams too, where it kept repeating the guitar solo over, like, the beginning of the solo where he's like, dun, 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 dun. They kept repeating that like 5 times.
Right. Those would be cool things to have. I would love to have something like that, either on CD, digitally, on vinyl. Think about when the first pressings of Best of Volume 1 came out. On Runnin' with the Devil, they had the second and third verses flipped by accident.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, it's a rarity. It's a rarity.
Running with the rarities. There we go. That's the name of the 5th disc.
Let's do it. Send it to Warner Brothers. Get some royalties out of it.
Wayne Furman has the new live red vinyl.
Dreams on side B, new live.
You got any
red
of those
vinyl.
copies left, Johnny? You got any?
I have 2 of them.
Got any of those copies of that red vinyl?
I still do, yeah. I have 2 of them. We'll be giving them away at some point.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, we'll be giving this away. So keep it tuned in right here. Make sure you smash that subscribe. And then when these come out, we're going to give away a couple of these too.
Nice.
So when's the official date these things come out? They're current right now, aren't they? Or we've got a few days or waiting or what? The box set is currently out and available.
October 6th.
2 months.
October 6th. Wow, it's a long ways away still.
That's why I think they went safe with the humans being released from it, because anything else would have been under so much scrutiny for the next 2 months.
You know what I'm thinking though? I mean, this releasing that, because see, the thing is, since that song 1996, how long ago was that? I hate to even think.
Yeah, way too long.
How many
25
like
20
years ago?
26 years.
26 years. So you have a whole new generation of people out there, you know, that took our jobs away. I never had a job. And this is brand new stuff to them. So that song would be brand new to them.
Johnny, this is your job.
This is my job. That's right. And you're at your job right now.
Yes, I am.
That's a rarity. Humans being is a rarity.
It's a rarity, and if you're 20 years old, if you're 20 years old, that you've never heard that song before. You've probably never seen that movie. I only went and saw that movie in the theaters just to hear the Van Halen music.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't stand that
Around
movie.
for the end credits.
Yeah, Helen Hunt, come on, man.
No, seriously, I went and saw that
It's
movie
awesome.
several times just to, you know, to hear the music, the Van Halen music, and then the ending, because that's the only place you could hear that ending.
Yeah, respect the win.
Respect the Wind. But then, well, here's another rarity. You actually had to go out and buy the orchestrated version of that soundtrack to
Right.
get the extended version of that, or even just to get that, maybe.
Was it
You
on the
know?
original soundtrack? I think it was the
There-
edited version on the soundtrack, but then you had to buy the score to get the
Yes.
full version.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is a rarity.
There's also, if you watch the movie, there's a sort of orchestra version of Humans Being that
Mhm.
leads into the actual song. That would be cool to have. Have Humans Being start off with an orchestra, and then maybe even have it mixed throughout the track. It's a rarity.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm sure that exists.
It has to.
You know, strings, because they wrote that song for that movie. There has to be a mix of that where there's strings like throughout that, and they just never put it out. You know, It's like, whatever. See, I think they're testing the. You okay, Dan? I think they're testing the waters with this and putting out this 5th disc as rarities. Although for us, it's like bah humbug. But for, like I said, there's a whole new generation of people out there where this is new to them. This is brand new, and they're going to see how this goes. And then they're going to slowly, I'm just assuming, put out the stuff that we want eventually. You know?
Yeah. Like, I think if they put out a deluxe edition of 5150, let's say in 2 years, you put out 5150, you package it with whatever demos that have been floating around in really poor quality, and then you put Live Without a Net in there, you put a Blu-ray of it with the songs that weren't on the original VHS release, and you put a vinyl of Live Without a Net. And then you've got this great deluxe edition, something akin to what Jimmy Page had done with the Zeppelin releases. Each one of those records was released as its own freestanding box set, and you just got tons of extra tracks and demos and whatnot. I don't know if they are testing the waters for that. I mean, would there be a demand for something like that for Van Halen?
From the casual fan,
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's tough. But for us and for a lot of other people like us,
yeah.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, a lot of us, we already have. Like I was telling you, stuff that I have in my iPod, a lot of people don't even know exists. You know, so there are some of us out there that do have this amazing stuff. Maybe they need to contact us to see like what else is really out there. Because I can tell you guys, if you guys are, if Rhino, if you're watching this, I can tell you what we want. You know,
we'll give you a real rarities disc or a box set of rarities.
Yeah, yeah. Dane will even give you a blank tape.
I do a VHS. Okay.
No, man, but Live Without
a
Oh my gosh, Live Without a Net. There was so much stuff that was put out as promotion for that back in the day that got played on the radio. Like the song Rock and Roll. There was a whole nother version of that from like the previous night that they released.
Yeah,
it's not the same one that's on the VHS. There was Good Enough, which was cut.
Really
there was. You Really Got Me was cut. I mean, I never heard like a version of that from that, but there was definitely,
supposedly it opened the show.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I've never heard it from that show. It's always been the One Way to Rock that it opens it.
Right. But if you listen to any bootlegs from the 5150 tour, You Really Got Me opens the show. It goes from there to One Way to Rock. And then there was other songs that were totally cut out, like Dreams.
Yeah.
Getting all these. What have I seen? What? Wayne Furman? You're sending me messages. Have I seen what? Have I seen these? Oh yeah. Yeah, these are those Japan singles.
Japan remasters.
Yeah. Yeah, those are cool, man. Yeah, those are remastered. But yeah, so anyway, so there was so much stuff from Live Without a Net that was commercially released back in the day on radio that, you know, I recorded off the radio every time it would come on, I'd request it, you know, and then you could get, there was vinyl. There were so many bootlegs out there that do have, you know, rarities. But because you know, the internet, I've got a huge box of cassettes. That one of these show, Dane, somebody remind me, and we'll go through these cassettes. It's like interviews, live stuff. I've got tons of shows that aren't even like on the internet. You know,
like when they would get YouTube interviewed for a new release, like on the Westwood One radio network. You know, they would always do things like that. Or if they just went to a certain town, every town they go to, they're doing radio interviews.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen bootlegs of that where it's just those interviews. You know,
you would hear those too. Like the San Francisco station, there was a station that was called KRQR, the Rocker, and there was a cut that Sammy and Eddie did saying, "Hey, this is Sammy Hagar and Eddie Van Halen. You're listening to KRQR, the Rocker." You know, stuff like that. I have that on a tape somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's so much of that out there for each different market, each different station. I mean, there was the what's the show? Not Off the Record. The one where you would call in Rockline. There were so many Rockline episodes, you know, with the band. There was all the album premieres, you know, with the band. There's so much stuff. And Brian has a question. Brian just sent me a text message. You guys smash that thumbs up. Wow.
So, Michael, if people want to get a hold of your book, what's the best way of doing that? Buying a copy of your book.
Yeah, I would say just go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you're picking up your books. You can just search for Van Halen, the Eruption, and the Aftershock, and it'll be there. Yeah, that's a website down below. X and Instagram. My socials.
X.
So crazy. What world are we living in?
I don't know.
There's also, if you're not a big reader, like Ned is not a big reader. I know that.
He's a big chewer.
He's a big chewer. There's an Audible version of the book, an audio book that you can get in Audible or whatever Barnes and Noble has. And I did the narration of the audiobook for Access.
We have boxes of them. Brian. We got Brian. He's sending me WhatsApp messages. Yeah, the Legend of 1900. Most of you guys have never heard that. Eddie Van Halen did some tracks with Roger Waters that were officially released back 20 years ago.
Yeah, those are some rarities.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think Warner Brothers owns those.
Ricky's
So this would
ordering
be
one.
rarities
Ricky's getting
that...
one right now.
What? Oh, right
Ricky
on.
Spanish
We're selling...
said he's ordering a book right now.
We're selling books.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. I'll get 5 cents on that. It'll be great.
Raymond, Johnny, would you have to digitize the cassette tapes and maybe remaster them? Yeah, I'll be doing my own remasters of stuff. Yeah, I can play you guys some of the stuff on one of these shows eventually because I've got a Tascam 4-track right in front of me here, and I'm not kidding. It's right here. That's what I used to use when I do these shows all these years. I'd be running a 58 through a Tascam. So I have that. I've got a huge box of tapes. I'll show you guys. I'll go through the tapes at some point on one of these shows. I'll show you guys what I have. It's so many interviews with Edward, like speaking in Dutch, years ago, and just all kinds of stuff.
I got to hear that.
Do you know? Can you speak Dutch?
I don't know what he's saying. No, I have no idea what he'd be saying.
I think the most frustrating part is for hardcore fans, is we have all these songs out there that are true rarities, but we know there's better quality versions of them that somebody has, whether it's Warner Brothers or it's in
or me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite a task to assemble them all, get them all together.
Yeah. Well, I think Van Halen fans are just frustrated in general, right? Because we always want more.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of this band. I mean, look at this. We're sitting here talking about a band that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Hate to say it,
so
but
when you got that theory, the guys are like, always leave them wanting more. Van Halen absolutely did that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going. It's ridiculous that we can sit here and talk for, an hour and a half and still not even talk about all the things that we want from this band that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll keep going forever. I mean, it's Van Halen's just such a special band, and I mean Edward Van Halen. Without Edward Van Halen, there's no Van Halen. Doesn't matter.
I think that's why there's a market for it too, because people want to hear, even just your casual fans want to hear things that they hadn't heard before from Eddie Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that this is the last major rock band that has not put out anything of note that's really rare or out of what's been out for years. No new live shows.
I always enjoyed that. I had a cassette of their very last show at the Pasadena Civic Center before they went on their first US tour. And that's available on YouTube where you can get the audio of that. But I had that on a cassette tape back in the 80s and the 90s, and I wore that thing out. That was so much fun to listen to. You could hear when they were doing Ice Cream Man, Eddie's guitar came unplugged. You could hear him plugging it back in and kicking right back in right before the solo, just in time to nail the solo.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun listening to that YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just all those live cassettes that we had back in the day.
Yeah.
And think about the generation you had of that. I mean, that had to be 17th generation of that show, and it was still magical.
Yeah. Although there are, I mean, the show he's talking about, that's Pasadena Civic 77. I forget, what's the actual date of that? October or something, or December or
I
something?
don't know, but I remember Dave. Here's one off our first album. He says stuff like, I've been waiting an awful long time to let you go. Here's one off our first album. It's called Atomic Punk. And then that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's the one where Michael Anthony gives a shout out to Ted Templeman.
At the very end, he's like, Ted Templeman, we love you. Or something like that. At the very, very end, super high. His voice was so high.
Yeah, he's like, Ted Templeman, this one's for you, baby, but it's much higher.
For you, baby. Yeah, Dave's like, we're going to tear the roof off the place right here. And then Michael comes in. Dad, this one's for you, baby. Yeah,
and what did it go into? Was it
magical?
Really
you really got me. Yeah,
it was the last. It was the last song. Yeah. Yeah. Did I tell you guys the story? I was down in LA for the NAMM show. This was 14. This was a long time ago. I was down there and we were walking our dog Howie, the Dalmatian, around Pasadena, downtown Pasadena. And all of a sudden, there it is, Pasadena Civic Auditorium. So I go walking over there and the side door was slightly open. So I open the door and I walk in there and it's pitch black dark. And all of a sudden there's a lady in there vacuuming and she sees me and I'm like, hi, where's the stage? I want to see the stage. And she picks up a radio and she starts talking. I got out of there. I split and I never went back. There were sirens, all this stuff.
No.
But because of that show you're talking about, I really wanted to see the stage. Although I think we learned later on, Van Halen never actually played the main part of that auditorium. They always played like the smaller room for that show. It wasn't like the main huge area that they would play.
Right.
Okay.
But now if you go there's a plaque on the side of the wall, on the side of the outside that says...
You've showed us that on your channel.
I was there live
by there.
a few years.
Yeah.
I did a Pasadena Van Halen live tour on YouTube here. Yeah. Video will be right up there on playback at an hour, 37 minutes.
So,
yeah.
What would you think their attendance was at that 77 Pasadena show? 600 people? What would you guys guess? No, in 1977, when they're like, this is our,
our last show at Pasadena Civic.
This is our last show.
That main
I've been
part,
waiting an awful long time to say, here's one off our first album.
That's where they would hold those huge award shows, like the Academy Awards. You used to watch that on TV. That's the Pasadena Civic. That's the place.
10,000.
So and Van Halen wasn't playing that room,
right? So
they were playing like right out. I was actually probably in the room walking around, and I didn't realize it.
Maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200 tops.
Maybe 1,000.
Yeah,
maybe 1,000 tops.
I think there was 1,000 people there.
Maybe. But anyway, as far as that show, like that you were talking about, Dane, if you guys want a really good version of it, there's a CD you can find. It's called Dressed to Kill.
Yeah.
And it has Van Halen on the front. They're dressed up like from the Hot for Teacher music video. We're in the suits. And the back side of it is them sitting there from the video, like eating like the candy and the popcorn. If you find the CD of that, this is what I had. Find the CD of that. The thing is, it's that show, but it's one track. so you can't skip. So you have
that's
have to
right.
press forward.
You can't
And then
fast
at the-
forward. Yeah.
And then at the end of it, they have House of Pain, Running with the Devil, the Gene Simmons versions.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
And after that, there's 2 live tracks. One's called Bullet Head, and one's called Down in Flames. Which, if you guys know your Van Halen history, Down in Flames is what became Tattoo.
Yeah.
Tattoo.
Oh.
Yeah. So rarities.
Yeah.
Those bootlegs were. I don't know if they were just trying to fill space on the CDs. By every bootleg that I have from, let's say, the mid '90s, it always had these extra things. It wasn't just that show. It was something weird. Like on Dress to Kill, you had the Gene Simmons demos. I know I had On Fire in Fresno, and that had the Rodney Binghamheimer interviews with Dave. And then Eyes of the Night, that had something on it too. I forget, but there was something extra there.
That was like one of the high school performances, I think. With it's all covers like ZZ Top and
James Gang and
somebody actually just tagged me on. Was it? No, it wasn't X. It was what's it called? The new Instagram.
Threads.
Is it Reels? Threads. Yeah. Somebody just tagged me on Threads literally yesterday. And they're like, I think this is fake. I think this is AI fake Van Halen. And it was the Eyes of the Night album. And I'm like, no, that is Van Halen. But it's very old. It's rarities.
Yeah. Rarities. Yeah, the quality is not the best. But it's got some really interesting work on there if you can listen through it. Which I mean, Eddie shines on it. You can really hear him perfectly. But a lot of it, there's a lot of hiss. It's just not the best recording. Yeah,
because it was cassette tape. It was cassette, micro cassette recorders that people were bringing into these shows. Or I think the band actually had a lot of that stuff recorded. They would record the stuff and then they would listen to it later and work on their show and their production. And so I think that's why a lot of this stuff exists. And let me just say really quickly, smash that thumbs up, you guys. We got 69 people here live. You guys are awesome. I mean, back in the 90s when Aerosmith was putting out box sets, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, all these bands putting out, basically like all the rarities, whatever. And we're all like, where's the Van Halen? Right. And then all these years, nothing. Maybe they were waiting, like you don't want to put everything out and then like what's there left for a Led Zeppelin fan now? Is there stuff left?
No, and apparently Jimmy Page is working on like remastering or remixing the remasters. I mean, he just won't give up that ghost, but there's nothing else left to do. With Van Halen, though, I think they always thought that they were reversed to becoming a legacy band. So in the 90s, when everybody else is putting out those box sets, like Aerosmith, their Pandora's box is phenomenal. It's all their old 70s stuff, all different versions of the songs, a lot of live stuff. I would have loved to have gotten that from Van Halen, but obviously in the 90s, they were way too caught up in whatever they were trying to do. Sammy out, Dave in, Gary out.
They were still a current band by then.
Right. They didn't want to start putting out. I mean, it was twisting their arm to get the Best of Volume 1 out. They're not going to put out a box set of rarities while they're still a functioning unit, no matter how dysfunctional it was.
I don't think Edward wanted to do any of that either. He was always wanting to move forward and make new material. Make a new record. It seemed like, if I think Edward had said in interviews, if you want a greatest hits, go out and buy all the records and make your own.
Yeah. I
think he actually said that at one point. So I don't think, but obviously there is a lot of stuff out there And like I can tell you guys, I got so much rare stuff on my iPod, which is slowly. It only works in the car, so I can't even. If I wanted to, I couldn't play it in here. There is a lot of stuff out there, as far as rare stuff that I guarantee a lot of you guys have never heard. So the stuff does exist, but I think they're kind of testing the waters now with this, and then to see what the reaction is like, and you know, although I think Wolfgang had said, you know, it's up to Alex. Anything they put out in the future, and maybe Edward didn't want any of that stuff in the vault put out eventually, because with Edward, if it wasn't done and finished, it didn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which is why live right here, right now is so many overdubs and so much almost re-recorded completely.
It is.
Not recorded completely.
It is. I have 2 songs from that. There was somebody, I had a friend on Facebook. He's since passed away, but he bought a DAT tape from like the Andy Johns estate, and he had put it up online. So it's online now. If you search it, you can find it. But it's Man on a Mission and In and Out. And if you listen to them, you're like, that's from the album, just no vocals. No, it's them in the studio re-recording the songs, because you hear Sammy singing, and then once the song's done, you hear Sammy say, "Okay, I'm out of here."
No kidding.
Yeah,
because he thought he was just going in to do some overdubs, and they're having him re-sing the entire show.
They pretty much redid that entire show, because an actual audio bootleg of that show does exist.
Well, it was
so you could
played live on radio when it happened, wasn't it?
No, what happened? I was there. I wasn't at that show, but it was played on radio. Sammy Hagar was live at Cabo Wabo jamming with friends in 1992, early 92, and then what they did was they played a bunch of tracks from Fresno, and they're different. They're different mixes.
Yeah.
So they're more raw. They're really not what ended up being on Right Here, Right Now. But there is an actual audio audience recording from that show, and you can listen to it and you can tell it's not the same, because I think Eddie breaks a string. Oh, that's right. Eddie breaks a string during like Pound Cake or something, and then in the footage of Judgment Day, he's playing a different guitar. That's where he broke the string. See, it's making sense now.
Yeah.
Where it intersplits.
Hey guys, I gotta go home.
Well, okay,
Johnny, I gotta go home. It's getting late.
I told you, when he has to go, he has to go.
Yeah, he's out the door.
Michael,
Your
nice
mom's
you, man.
leaving too.
Great meeting you as well.
Congratulations.
Let's do this again.
Yes.
Sure. Here every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tell
We're here
Johnny
every Tuesday.
eventually he'll stop sending me the link. But
I want to hear more Triple
all right,
X
guys.
story.
Thanks for having me.
See you later, Dane.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, man.
So I think it would have been great if, with the Live Right Here, Right Now set, we got something with that wasn't released. Because, the red vinyl one, you're basically getting a studio recording of Van Halen just redoing those songs with audience noise.
That audience noise, I always had an issue with that. When that first came out, I remember cranking that album, driving around like, yeah, this is awesome, but there's something about this audience noise. You could tell it was a loop. It kept repeating. It kept, and it just, it took away from it. It really didn't add to it. And I could tell you, I had seen Van Halen several times live before that came out. I'm like, this isn't live. The way Eddie sounds too restrained, the way he's playing, to actually be like a live version, because he would do way more, you know, squeals and dive bombs live than what you heard on Right Here, Right Now.
Right.
You could tell it wasn't. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it wasn't him in front of a crowd. It was him in a studio focusing on the playing, as opposed to just kind of going for it live and being more open to improv and just, you know, kind of hamming it up for the audience and being more, well, less restrained, as you said.
Yeah, it's the energy. I mean, it was still awesome, but it wasn't, because again, you can A/B Right Here, Right Now, what came out with another live audience recording from like the same tour. It was night and day between the performances.
That's wild. Yeah.
Still good, but not you know, not what it should have been.
It's a cool document to have, but it's a shame you can't have the real thing, you know, especially something live right here, right now that isn't live here right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's really what sucks, is we're never gonna go to another Van Halen concert ever again. I mean, if you were there was nothing for me, for my era. There was nothing like well, it was mostly Van Hagar, you know, but there was nothing like Van Hagar outdoors for an evening. Nothing like it. And I've always said, the Right Here, Right Now tour was like the best tour I ever saw, because it was outdoors.
Right. It was it was all in the sheds.
It was in the sheds, and out here, this is Sammy Hagar's hometown.
Yeah.
So Sammy's like, "Hey, I'm home," you know, and the audience is going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and they actually did the Neil Young would do these benefit shows called the Bridge Benefit. He brought Sammy brought Edward to one of them in '93. They did a piano version of Right Now and Love Walks In, and he was playing the Parker Fly guitar, you know.
Right.
And I had missed that because I was at home watching this show, and this is funny. See, I can connect all this stuff together. I was at home watching on NBC the show called Cafe and Music Can, which was Valerie Bertinelli's new sitcom.
Right.
And at the very beginning of the show, she kicks a bum out of the cafe who's playing the guitar, and it was Eddie.
Yeah.
So I'm at home watching that, being like, man, this is cool. And then after that's over, the local news comes on, and there's Eddie and Sammy at Shoreline. I'm like, oh, crap. I could have been there.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's not like today where you knew everybody that was going to be at the Bridge School benefit. You know, now you know weeks in advance. Back then it was, you never knew who was going to show up. You certainly didn't think Eddie was going to show up, you know, doing anything that wasn't full production.
I do have that show though. I got a VHS copy of that show filmed on the screen. So I've seen it since, but again, rarity.
Yeah,
rarity. See? You know?
I'm sure there's a great video copy of that somewhere.
Oh, there is.
Pristine.
There definitely is. There definitely is, and Sammy Hagar and Michael Anthony, they're what they call Van Hagar, the other half account, their Instagram account. You know, they're releasing a lot of cool stuff from those tours and stuff that's pro shot that we never saw back in the day, and rarities.
It's all rarities. You know? So much rarities out there.
Yeah.
But we got Crossing Over.
We did.
On the rarities disc.
We did. And that is considered a rarity. I mean, there's a lot of fans that really don't know about that song, and they especially don't know the history of it.
Yeah.
How it was recorded in 1983. Yeah. Actually. It was written then and then used later on and or stuff, you know, like the Wildlife soundtrack. All that stuff, or the Seduction of Gina soundtrack, you know. I mean, just all this cool. Yeah. But I think we'll get a lot of the stuff eventually. If not officially, it'll start circulating through the internet and, because of, shows like this,
Yeah.
telling you guys this stuff does exist. And we have it or we've heard it,
And someone's going to come out with a copy and say, "Oh yeah, I've got that. I had this in, I've had this for years. I worked somewhere and I have a copy of it."
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has the actual score of the Wildlife, not just Donut City, but they've got all the other tracks.
Yeah, I do have
a lot of that's out there.
That was released years ago, so there is a lot of that is out there.
Yeah.
See, that's the stuff I love.
Right.
And that was something that Edward, he didn't like. He put that out and he wanted to forget about it.
Yeah.
But for people like us, I don't care if it's a drum machine. It's Eddie Van Halen.
Right. Yeah, I would love to have all the work that he did for Wildlife, like everything that he gave them and said,
Yep.
"Here, just do whatever you want with it. It's a bunch of junk." And they were probably like, "What? This is a masterpiece."
That was stuff that they would actually use for the NAMM shows too. At the Kramer booth, Edward would record like when they debuted like the Ripley guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
Eddie, because I've got a good friend of mine who would go and he would hang out with Eddie for years. He knew him, and he was telling me that he would go to the Kramer booth and they would have headphones sitting there and you could listen to the Ripley being demonstrated, and it was Eddie. It was Eddie playing it, and it was all stuff. And this buddy of mine, he was offered the cassette tape, like the demo tape for that. Like, here, you can have this. Like when they're closing up the shop, Right. And he was like, nah, or he had it, or got thrown out. Rarities, man. That's
Rarities. Rarities.
That's the stuff.
Yeah.
Eddie Van
Somebody's
Halen,
got that.
1984 era stuff, man. I mean, dang. Huh, Raymond? No, I'm not releasing anything. I was just joking. If you guys want to hear it, I'll be driving down the street. I'll do a tour of the country where I'm just driving around with my windows down.
Right.
I'll be driving by your houses blasting, the rarities.
That's a good idea.
Michael and I, we'll pick up Dane. Oh, the giveaway is a rarity. Oh, that's right. We have a giveaway. Totally forgot. I'm giving away some picks, you guys. Brand new. I found these
Still
in the
sealed?
Guitar War. Still sealed.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a rarity.
It probably is, yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna spin and give these away. What do you think? What time is it? We're almost at 2 hours. You're East Coast, right?
I'm East Coast, yeah.
So it's like 10. Well, what else can we think of real quick about this box set?
I mean, I think that people are asking, is it going to be split up at any point and sold individually? I think that's going to happen by the spring.
Oh, they're definitely it's Rhino Records. They're going to be sold individually. It's going to be mass produced. It's going to be everywhere. So I wouldn't worry about. Well, the box sets. Well, that right here, right now box set is limited.
Yeah, wasn't that 2,000 copies or 5,000?
Where's the graphic?
7,000? I don't know.
I think it was less than that. Where's the graphic that I made for it? I don't think it says on here. The chat will tell us in the chat how many copies of this was released.
It was less than 10,000. I know that, or maybe it was 11,000. I don't know. Someone will tell us.
Maybe it was like 1,000. It wasn't very many because on Record Store Day I went and there was one copy in the store and I got it. I saw it. I was live. You can actually watch on my channel here me being like, okay, where is it? Oh, there it is, and I grabbed it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did
Brad's
you give one
saying
away?
7,000.
7,000?
Could be.
That sounds
Still
right.
not much. I mean,
No, and you couldn't find it after a certain point.
right.
It's a rarity.
It's a rarity. And I have 2 of them. They're back in there. And I'm giving them away at some point on this channel during one of these shows. So make sure you guys smash that subscribe. 7,500. I'm seeing a couple of people say. That's still rare. Well, I have 2 of them. So 7,498.
97, because I've got one.
Or whatever. Yeah. There we go. Johnny Rock. Thank you.
I wonder
Yeah.
how many copies of the box set are being released of the collection.
It doesn't say that it's limited.
No.
And it is Rhino Records. So there's going to be plenty of them. And then after the release, or during the release, they'll probably release each one individually.
Yeah.
Maybe not the rarity disc. That might be like an exclusive for the set, I would think. Maybe, although who knows?
No, I think you're right, because that'll keep the set selling.
Yeah. Yeah, but they'll definitely release 5150, 812, Balance, Carnal Knowledge under the Rhino Records name or Warner's.
What do you do with Balance then? Do you put that bonus? I say you put the bonus song, the Balachitherium, you put that on it, you put Crossing Over on there, and you make it a double vinyl. Because the whole reason was they took it off because it didn't fit. So if you add Crossing Over to it, then it's just the Japanese version, and it's a 2-album set.
And it's like a gatefold.
Right. You make it a gatefold.
I think this came with this. Yeah, the actual one. Here, I'll do this real quick. Yeah, like this one actually came. I'm not showing the front because we're live on Facebook, and Facebook doesn't like the front of this record.
Right. Yeah. They don't like
So I'm not showing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this came with this, and then it has the lyrics. You know, all that.
If you notice what's missing off of the back cover of Balance, is the Coke can that was in the alley, that was sort of the middle finger that the band were giving to Pepsi. So you can't see that because it's the squared up image. You can only see it on the CD.
On the CD. Yeah, it's not there. You're right. Crystal Pepsi. Stuff's so weird. Rhino Records? That's Warner's.
Yes.
Warner Brothers became what's called Warner's.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now when you when you buy this, it'll say Rhino Records on it.
Yeah.
And they release basically everything. Was it Warner Brothers, or what label was it? Somebody was saying was Frank Sinatra's label.
Well, he had a couple because he had the Columbia years, Reprise.
That's it.
Yeah. If you look at the Dave vinyl that came out in 2015, they all say Warner's on them.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't say Warner Brothers. It says Warner's, which is, you just mentioned they changed to. And now these are going to have Rhino on them, which is, it's weird.
Rarities.
Rarities.
Warner's Rarities. Rhino's Rarities. Yeah, and then they're going to the record label's going to change in another 10 years, and they'll re-release the stuff again,
Right.
Remastered again. The record will be so loud. Yeah. No, I'm very excited to hear, especially 0812, because that really is my era. And I get made fun of a lot, you know, especially from actual friends of mine I know in person. They're like, oh, you know, What Is Love sucks, you know. Like, but for me, I bought 5150 when it was brand new, but the first album the first Van Halen album to come out really that I discovered like, whoa, was 0812.
Yeah.
I bought the CD, I bought the cassette, I listened to the cassette, and then I had to go out and buy a CD player to listen to the CD because the CD had a bonus track.
Yep. Rarity.
Which I still can't pronounce. Is it
Political Blues?
Political Blues or a Political? One of those.
It's the Little Feat cover.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call it that. But yeah, a lot of people didn't know that existed because they had just got the cassette or they got the vinyl, and neither of them had that song, which is now on the rarities disc of the new box set. I think it's not on 0812.
It's a rarity.
Yeah,
it's a rarity, and I remember when 0812 came out, the first single for 0812 was Black and Blue.
Yeah,
but there's no video for it.
Right.
But the flip side to that is a Political Blues. That's on the single.
Right.
And Black and Blue has a version that fades out.
Yeah.
It's called Black and Blue Fade.
Yep.
Another rarity.
I mean, that's an example of that record that there's some great songs on OU812. And yeah, the lyrics, especially the Black and Blue, leave a little bit to be desired. But there's some fantastic playing by Eddie. I mean, Sucker in a 3-piece, he's just ripping on that song.
Yeah. One of the reasons I love the Right Here, Right Now tour is it's outdoors. It was summertime. Van Halen opened the show with Mine Old Mine.
Yeah, Eddie playing the keyboard.
Dude, no, playing guitar. They were using recorded keyboard tracks by them.
Okay.
For a few tours, they had a track, and then actually for a tour, I don't know if you know this, for the Balance tour, they actually had Alan Fitzgerald from Night Ranger back behind the curtain playing the keyboards.
No kidding. I did not know that. Wow.
The guy from Night Ranger that had the glasses and the beard. Yeah. He was actually in the back. See, he should have been.
He had the glasses and the beard when he was in the back doing that.
No, he didn't, because if you walk out of that show with the tour book, you see a photo of him in the tour book, and he doesn't look like the same guy, but it's the same name.
Right,
and I'd remembered that, and you know, he was actually was he in Montrose, or he played bass for Sammy Hagar at one point, way back in the day.
Connection there, I forget exactly what it was, but
either Montrose or Sammy solo. Alan Fitzgerald was on bass, I believe.
Which is probably what got him the job, was his, knowing Sammy and having worked with him in some capacity before.
Yeah. And that's actually how Night Ranger got their big break. One of their breaks was because of Sammy. Night Ranger had a big Sammy Hagar connection.
What was that? I don't know that one.
They would open for Sammy.
When he was doing his solo stuff, not with
Montrose. Yeah, early 80s.
Yeah.
Early 80s. Yeah. Early 80s. And Night Ranger was actually, when they started, they were called Ranger.
Yeah.
And then when Jeff Watson left the band, he refers to them as not Ranger.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Not Ranger.
There's so many connections, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, dude, yeah. 0812, I mean, that's going to be awesome to hear. At least to hear Mine Old Mine remastered, because it never was. You never heard it. It was never on a greatest hits. I mean, because it was never a single.
Yeah.
But for me, it
For a
was
while
perfect.
on Spotify, there was the Japanese remaster version
Right.
of Oh You Wait One Too. But I mean, you don't know who remastered that. It was never done. I don't know. If it was done, it was just a nobody doing it. But you could tell the difference.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was
You can
louder.
totally.
Bass was up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the tracks on Best of Both Worlds,
Yeah.
the Hagar tracks, you can totally hear the difference for that stuff. And again, with today's standards, I mean, that's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, because 0812 really was really mastered back in the day as like a pop record.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pop radio. Dude, there's even, see, I'm remembering all this. There's actually a dance version of Finish What You Started.
Yeah.
With keyboards.
Right. Yeah.
Rarity.
I got that. Rarity.
I have it too. Oh, you have that too? Yeah, see? But that's a rarity, but I don't know. Nobody but us would want that because it's such a weird sounding song. It's not, it doesn't sound like the regular song at all, you know.
It's a really generic keyboard that comes in. It's like bump, 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 bump. It's really weird.
It's like a bass thing and then like a down, 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 you know, like a blues thing. I'm wondering originally though, if that was actually done for the Valerie Bertinelli TV show. She had a show on CBS back in 1990 called Sydney.
Yes.
And Finish What You Started was the theme song for that show. But it was the regular version of it. But I'm wondering if that pop version was maybe made for that at some point.
You know, I think I have that at like at arm's reach. I wonder if I played something, if you'd be able to hear it.
You can, well, because of copyright.
The Finish What You Started dance version?
Yeah. You can play the very beginning where you can't tell what it is.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't know what it is from.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we can hear this.
I got it on cassette tape back in the day.
I got it
from
CD.
Wow.
But you could tell it was coming from a
tape.
Yeah, you could still hear the hiss. All right, so let me see if I do have it. Okay, I do. All right, I'll play the first 4 seconds of it. See if see if you can even hear it.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's it. Well, you can play more than that.
Okay.
Play it up until you hear the actual guitar part, because it actually kind of goes for a little bit before you can tell what it is.
All right, let me start. I'll start it right from the very beginning. Then you can hear it.
It's cut out from there, but yeah, and then it goes into the dun 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 dun. Yeah,
right.
But there is a keyboard part in that song that really wasn't in the actual. Well, there was no keyboards in it, but there is like a down down.
Yeah.
Down down, like it goes up and then it goes down. Yeah.
Synthesized. Yeah.
Yeah, like a real pop sounding part.
Right.
Yeah. See, you guys have never heard that. That's a rarity.
That is a rarity. That is a rarity.
And it's long too. It's a long song because that's an actual remix.
It's 6 minutes. It's like 6 minutes and 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
No, it's 6:50. It's 6 minutes. 6 minutes and 46 seconds.
It's almost as long as Cabo Wabo. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah. That is
maybe a lot of you guys don't even want to hear that, man.
That's one of those ones that could ruin your
dude.
night. You're not.
Dude, we're gonna get busted now. We're wearing these shirts and we were just listening to that. These guys are people are gonna hate us now, man. You guys aren't real fans. Yeah, we are.
Oh, you ain't one too crap.
Oh, you went too sucks. Hey, I love it. I love that stuff. Yeah, if you guys want to hear that full song, I'll be driving around in my car tomorrow, blasting it out the windows. Maybe I'll go live on Twitch and play it for you guys, because I can get away with it over there.
That would be great.
Yeah, it's a dance song.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that stuff, man. There was another Finish What You Started remix that actually that was officially released. I really don't hear a difference with it, but maybe there is. And then somebody was saying, who was that? Somebody was saying the other day, Finish What You Started. So there was something released some years back where there's no fade on it.
Wasn't that one, was it maybe Best of Both Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which at the time, I probably just hit skip. Never a skip. And then never realized that it was different.
Right.
You know?
It's a rarity.
It's a rarity, you guys. Oh my gosh. What time is it? Dang. Okay. All right. So what do you think? Cool?
Yeah.
You'll have to come back. Hey, when this album comes out, man, come back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to talk about it after getting to hear it. And like, I remember when Metallica put out the big deluxe box set for And Justice for All, and everyone was so disappointed that they hadn't corrected the bass, which is just one of the most notorious things in music, having Jason Newsted's bass turned all the way down. It would be really disappointing if OU812 sounds just like it did when it was originally released. But it won't. It's going to sound a lot better.
It won't, because if you listen to When It's Love on Best of Both Worlds, you hear it. I mean, there's a difference.
That's indicative of what's to come, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll find out. I am coming back on, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, and we'll give one away too.
Yeah,
we'll do that. Okay. Speaking of giveaways, is everybody present for the giveaway? We're giving away some guitar picks. Let's see. Here we go. 32, only 32 entries. Where have you guys been? Actually, my computer actually restarted at one point. So half of you guys, I don't know what happened. So if you guys want some premium quality EVH guitar picks, mint.
Wow, still
brand
sealed.
Still sealed. Look at that. If you want these, press a number in the chat. See how everybody's doing? Everybody press 1 right now. Everybody press number 1. There we go. And refresh your browsers too. And smash that thumbs up. All right. Let's find this real quick. And then I want to talk a few minutes off the air too. I want to talk more about what we were talking about before we started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, the winner of the guitar picks. All right, looks like most of you guys are everybody that's here is here. All right, the winner is. Watch, it'll land on me. Hugh Caldwell. Hugh Caldwell. Text that phone number, 415-952-3263. These guitar picks are yours. Hugh Caldwell, EVH Guitar Picks 10. Oh, that makes sense. All right. Congratulations.
Second place is the radio remix of Finish What You Started.
The radio remix.
That's what I have it called as. It's just the radio remix.
Finish What You Started. There was a tiny disc. Do you remember that? It was like a 3-inch CD.
Mm-hmm.
Officially came out. It was Finish What You Started. And on it says remix. And I'd listen to it and I could never tell the difference. Although that was years ago though. My tinnitus has really kicked in now, so I could actually probably tell. So
You think it was maybe I don't know, the guitar either lowered or raised? Could have been something as inconsequential as that.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, it's a
It
rarity.
certainly wasn't the 6-minute and 50-second version of it with the bouncing keyboards.
With the keywords. No, that really is a rarity. That really is something that most of you guys have not heard. And unfortunately, most of you guys wish you had never heard it once you hear it. I dig it.
Cooler heads prevailed before that was released. And somebody said, I don't care how many radio stations this gets it's on. We're not putting this out.
I don't know. And then, do you remember? Well, you worked at the record shops. Do you remember that campaign Van Halen had in 1990 called "Heaven Help Us All"? Do you remember that? There was a T-shirt and a poster released. It said VH 90s on it. The back said "Heaven Help Us All." Had a drawing of the planet, and it had Edwards Kramer guitar popping out of the planet, out of the globe.
I don't remember that. What was the contest for?
It was official. Nothing ever. There was no reason for it. I remember. Like their next record that came out after that was Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with it. There was no tour. That shirt was never sold on tours, but it was an official design, official shirt.
Yeah, I don't know what that would have been. Could it have just been guitar stores that had it, or was it record stores too?
It was like those rock, but now what you would call Hot Topics type places.
Right, where they would have the Winterland shirts, and
they would have like a bunch of concert shirts and posters and whatever. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I tried looking it up and I can't even find an image of it online. It's like they totally got rid of it, but I have the poster for it. If somebody reminds me, wait, is this you? Oh, wait, you found it. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Dude 5150. Thank you for sending. This is awesome. Okay. Dude 5150. Yeah, this is it right here. This is like the front or that's like the front of the shirt. It said Heaven Help Us All. VH, and you can't see, but on the VH it says 90s. It says VH 90s in there, and then there's the see.
What's with that weird VH logo that's kind of the old one, but kind of not?
Maybe that's why it never. Maybe that's why nothing ever happened from it, because this is Van Hagar era.
Wow.
See.
Yeah.
And then right in here it says 90s, but the image is blurred, so you can't see it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for sending that, man. I had that shirt, but Mom tossed it out because I cut the sleeves off. Dude, 5150 is saying. Yeah. My mom didn't throw mine away. See, heaven help us all. And it is official. This is an official campaign. 1990 is when, or no, 89. 89 is when that came out.
Yeah, I've never seen that. And that's such a bizarre looking shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Logo, just the logo itself is what I don't get. Where they may be toying with the idea of doing a new logo for the 90s, showing themselves that they were going to change with the new decade. And then like the radio remix of Finish What You Started, somebody said, hold up. The rings are good. Finish What You Started is good. It's 4 minutes long. You don't need to add on another 3 minutes. Everybody go back to 5150 Studios and settle down.
Oh my gosh. All right. All right, you guys. All right. Well, hey, Michael, thank you so much. Come back soon. Definitely come back when the box sets are released, and we'll talk more about.
I will for sure.
We'll open them up. We'll look inside. We'll
Thank
give
you
them
for
away.
having me. It's always a pleasure to be on with you and whoever our other esteemed talking heads are at the time. And yeah, we always learn. I always learn.
Most of them quit. Most of them quit. So Dane's the only one guy left, but it's all good. We love Dane. All right, you guys. All right, yeah, don't hang up. Channel members, thank you so much for your continued support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will see you guys. Let's see. I'll see you guys tomorrow from somewhere. And then Friday, we talk Kramer guitars. I don't know. You might want to come back for talking Kramer guitars.
Yeah. Maybe somebody could wear that shirt with the Kramer coming out of the earth.
Yes. Oh, I sold that shirt years ago. I don't have it anymore. I have the poster. If somebody, Janice, is Janice here? Somebody tweet me on X and remind me, and I'll show you guys the poster because I still have it. All right. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you guys next time. So smash that thumbs up. Smash that subscribe. Where's the ending? Where is I can't oh here it is. Okay. We're out of here. Michael, don't hang up. We'll talk a little bit afterwards. All right. Rock on. Oh, wait a minute. Dude, 5150. What? $88 for the shirt on Etsy. Oh, there's the poster. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'll show this real quick. Yeah, this was the poster. It looked like this.
Oh, so that's got the regular Rings logo. They didn't have that bonkers square one.
Was that it? I'll have to look and see because I do have the poster still. Yeah, so maybe it was released with that, and then the T-shirt was released with that.
So strange.
It was the 90s.
Yeah.
It was a weird time.
A lot. I mean, it
Good
was
night.
prophetic.
Huh?
It was prophetic. Look what happened in the 90s.
I can't even remember the 90s. All right. You guys rock. We will see you guys next time. Let's see. We'll show this. All right. Johnny Beane TV. Bye-bye. We'll play a couple things. Here you go. Sammy.
What's up, dude?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Hi,
you want to film? You can film all you want, man. What do you want me to tell you in that camera? Hey, happy birthday to you, man.
Thanks. I'm Johnny Beane. I've met you a few times.
Johnny Beane?
Johnny Beane.
Oh, yeah, hey, Johnny Beane. Sammy Hagar here, man. Congratulations
There you
for
go.
one or all.
Hey, this is Michael Anthony right here, and you are watching exclusively Van Halen on the Johnny Beane TV. Keep it there. Woo! See ya!
Hey Hey, this is Cody Van Halen, and you are watching Johnny Beane TV.